So now I have a spontaneous fractured right hand. Nobody knows where it's coming from because I haven't taken testosterone in so long. So I don't know what to do. Do I get back on testosterone so my bones don't break?
My God.
Do I not do this? Do I not do that? Well, it's experimental. Who the knows what to do?
That's
and
right.
That's the kind of stuff that can't get out to people because people are not listening. They think it's about bigotry. This is not this life.
Hey everybody, I caught myself a good one today. This one I have been waiting for a long time, but this guy's so super busy doing the work out there. So before I move forward, I just want to thank you all for watching and really helping this channel grow. It means a lot to me, liking, subscribing, doing all that stuff. I'm going to get that out the way so we can get to Scott because Scott is like gold. So hi Scott, this is Scott Newgent. If you don't know who he is, he's a super awesome dude. I'm just going to let him introduce himself. So hey Scott, introduce yourself.
Howdy. My name's Scott Newgent. I medically transitioned, started it at 42 as a business sales executive. And fast forward, here I am doing activism against the medicalization of children and bringing reality about what medical transition is, what trans is, and what it's not.
Excellent. So if you probably all know who Scott is. Most of the people who watch my channel are very aware of what's going on out there, but his voice is so important. So I want to talk a little bit about, but the reason I have you on today, first off, is because your voice is important to me. Secondly, because you're a powerhouse. And third, what happened to you is so insane that I cannot believe that they're continually doing these things. It's shocking to me. So let's talk a little bit about, let's just get right into it, Scott. Let's talk a little bit about your surgery because I think your surgery is really one of the most important parts of your story. So can we talk about when you decided to do your surgery, what kind of surgery you had and what happened there?
Well, which one? I've had a seven.
I think the bottom surgery is the one I'm really discussing with you right now.
I've had two bottom surgeries. I started, and most people don't know that. I started
I didn't.
The Centurion. Which
is that? Explain that to people because we don't know.
Centurion is God, it's so private, but they kind of
well, you can say it like in a is it like what does it mean, Centurion?
Well, basically, you have the one that they just kind of release the clear, so it looks like a baby.
Oh, okay.
Centurion is one that kind of creates a little bit bigger, but you still can't penetrate.
Okay, it's the release.
Yeah. So the phalloplasty, I think, is what you want to talk about.
Yeah, that's right.
So. And here's what I like to say to people so that they understand. I was 42. I was a semi-successful business sales executive, not a stupid person. And I went online to try to find information about this surgery. And it was just kind of like unicorn farts and glitter bombs. Like, this is great.
Well, wait, how long ago was this when you started to do this research? Sorry?
2017.
Oh, 2017. So you went online to look at how to do the fallow. And this is the information that you had, which was not very good information or didn't really exist.
No, it didn't really exist. It barely exists now. So
that's right.
There was one doctor who was supposed to be the awesome doctor of the phalloplasty. His name was Dr. Curtis Crane. Now, Dr. Curtis Crane had a practice in San Francisco.
Right.
What people don't know is he had 9 medical malpractice cases in San Francisco and was banned from surgery in that. So he's a banned surgeon. And so he goes to, he moves his practice to Texas. Okay. Now, Texas has a tort reform act, which means that if you are conducting any kind of medical procedures that are experimental and you bring them to the board to do medical malpractice suits, you have to have a baseline for care for them to compare it. So the judge has to go, okay, here's the phalloplasty. This is what's supposed to be done. They went above that, and they did perfect, or they fell below that. There's no baseline for that. And so in Texas, you can bring that up, and they go, well, where's the baseline? There is none. And talking about WPATH, WPATH, the World Professional, it's not worth the paper it's printed on. It's an activist organization, never held up in a court of law. So I didn't know that. I just saw everything online, right? I didn't realize that, he has, people that have colostomy bags lost all their genitals. And the thing that's very scary about this, if you read in those medical malpractice cases, is the nonchalant of it. Kind of, oh, no, you're okay. You're okay. I remember, there was one guy who kept going and saying, hey, there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with me. Oh, no, you're fine. Until he went in and talked to another doctor, like the Asian doctor, and went, you need to go to the hospital. And he did. and lost, half his genitals. He had leeches, trying to pull out his penis to make it. I mean, it's awful. It's awful PTSD stuff. But nobody knew that, right?
Yeah.
So I had the surgery. Now, I had the surgery, and I had told the doctor that I had had a pulmonary embolism before. Now I realize that that is the last surgery that I should have ever gotten or been approved for. That I am basically not a candidate for that at all. And I should have been told no on that basis.
That's right.
But he knew that. And, in the hospital, after a week, I went home. When I went home that night, my mom was with me, and I started to get like chest pain and couldn't breathe. Well, any doctor or anybody knows that that's a pure sign of what? A pulmonary embolism.
That's right.
So she called the doctor, and the doctor said, give him another pain pill.
What?
And so this is my own opinion, but it seems like he never refers people to the hospital, because that means you're touching it too much. And he wants somebody else to do it. So I'm thinking, I don't know for sure. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
So my mom gave me another pain pill, and I woke up and I was just like, I'm dying. I'm having a pulmonary embolism. So my mom called the hospital, or called the ambulance. The ambulance got me, and within about an hour, 45 minutes, I was life flighted to Dallas.
What?
Now, I was kind of in and out in that place, but I remember a conversation that the doctors were having with the nurses and this and that. And, they said, listen, this guy's going to die. He's either going to die in the ambulance, or he's going to die in the helicopter with maybe a, 10% chance of living. So we're going to put him in. He's young. He's got kids. I had been there before, so they knew my kids. Put him in the helicopter. So he did. Lo and behold, I survived. But it induced a stress heart attack. It caused heart damage and lung damage, a little bit of congestive heart failure, and some lung damage.
Wow.
So that was after a week of the surgery, right?
Right.
So there I am in the hospital, recovering from a massive heart attack and pulmonary embolism.
Okay.
And I was at home. And everything was supposed to be great, right?
Okay.
Well, all of a sudden, I started not to feel good anymore. And urine started to leak everywhere. And I couldn't sleep. I mean, when we're talking like I couldn't sleep, like I was like, I can't fucking sleep. I mean, I went to the hospital a couple of days. I was like, I can't sleep. This is an emergency. And they're all like, nah, whatever, la, 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 la. So I called the doctor and said, I don't feel well. And so he's like, well, you need to come down and see us. And so I went down to see him, and I had that little tube that was coming out, for the thing. And it was swollen and kind of red and stuff. And now I know that it was, a sign of infection. But he goes, oh my God, you're doing so great. I wish most people would do as good as you after this. And I was like, I am, I'm doing great, on pain pills and all that kind of stuff. And so I drove home. And a couple of days later, I just didn't feel good again. And, my wife at the time just thought I was being a baby or whatever. So I drove my ass to the hospital. Then we got another ambulance ride to Dallas again, where I had sepsis, and I had a sepsis surgery.
Oh my God.
So after that surgery, I had a wound specialist come in and talk to me. And I can send you this picture too. You probably want to put this on video, but I had a ligament showing through my arm. Now, I didn't know what that was. I mean, I'm high as a kite on pain pills.
Totally.
And I was like, I didn't know. Maybe that, I don't know. And she goes, you know that's a ligament sticking through your arm, don't you? And I went, I had no clue. And so I looked up at her, and I remember I probably seemed like a little kid. I'm like, will you fix it for me?
Oh,
I didn't want to go back, And she goes, no, I don't know what's going on there. You need to go back to the person that did this to you. So I did. So I called the office and got a surgery. So 4 days later, after I got out of sepsis surgery, I had to go down and do arm reconstruction surgery. And I went down to do arm reconstruction surgery, and halfway to Austin from Dallas, I told my wife, I'm in so much fucking pain. I can't handle this. The pain was just tremendous. And I called Dr. May and said, oh, yeah, you'll be okay. We'll do it in the morning. I said, if I will, Dr. Crane, I'm going to the hospital.
Yeah.
And you either tell him I'm coming or not, but I'm coming.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm 42, so I have that voice. You know, it took me that long to get it. So then I had arm reconstruction surgery where my arm is now, I like to show people.
Can we see it?
It is deformed for life.
Come over this way a little more. No, the camera. Yeah, there we go. A little bit more. Oh gosh, Scott. Oh, so
Yeah,
how is your hand? Can you? Oh gosh, Scott. I'm so sorry.
So it's painful, you know. And then of course, synthetic hormones, what they don't tell you is that there's a high chance of hurting bones. So now I have a, you know, a spontaneous fractured right hand. Nobody knows where it's coming from because I haven't taken testosterone in so long. So I don't know what to do. Do I get back on testosterone so my bones don't break?
Oh my God.
Do I not do this? Do I not do that? Well, it's experimental. Who the fuck knows what to do?
That's right.
You know, that's the kind of stuff that can't get out to people because people are not listening. They think it's about bigotry. This is not this life.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. You better understand how powerful this interview is and what this guy does, okay, to actually to sound the alarms. What's wrong with everybody? He actually had the actual experience that they keep. Dude, I see young people doing exactly what you did. And then 2 years later going, why did I do that? Because this disgusting community is pushing this particular surgery, which, as you can see, doesn't work.
No.
What?
And, you know, I can go into the whole realm of that. I mean, you and I could probably have a
so pissed.
You know,
I'm pissed for you.
Kind of a thing. So then I had my arm, okay, and that's bad enough, right? So then I'm supposed to be okay. I've never really told anybody the whole story of this, by the way.
Okay.
I told you I was going to give you some.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, dude.
So there I am after my arm reconstruction. So we had bottom, massive heart attack, pulmonary embolism, sepsis surgery, arm surgery. Now I'm supposed to feel better. So a couple of weeks later, 3 weeks later, I started to go back to work, and I couldn't think. And I never really understood what people said when they said brain fog. I mean, but I started to get to the point where I remember one time I had keys in my hands, and I had my car right there, and I started crying because I'm like, how do I unlock the door? It was a nightmare. I mean, I just couldn't think. And so I couldn't do my job. And I had a job with a software sales company that focused on, you know, the gas industry in Texas. And I couldn't think. And I understood that. And so I lost that job.
Wow.
And then that started to happen. And I would go to the hospital and they'd give me like antibiotics and I would feel a little bit better. I'm like, okay, I feel a little bit better. Woo. It came to the point where I couldn't take care of my kids alone. And so my ex that I was with for about 10 or 11 years, who's still my best friend, I had to send the kids up to her to watch them. And I was without my kids. And so I'm like, I can't do this. So I had to move up to be around my ex and my kids. And so I got into a little apartment, and I started selling windows because I couldn't strategically think. I couldn't. And I found myself getting into this like rhythm of something where I would get a bladder infection or whatever, and then I would take antibiotics. I'm like, whoo, I feel better. Time to get my life on the track. And then it'd be like, boom. And so I finally realized, what are you talking to? Oh, no, I'm talking to Buck. So there I was selling windows in a house in houses. And I was doing that also because I needed to have insurance. They had finally figured out that maybe kind of what was wrong with me, but there were no surgeons in the state that I was at that felt they knew enough about the process to take it on. So I had to go outside the state, and you can't go outside the state without a certain kind of insurance. So I had to get a job that had that insurance.
Okay.
So for 3 months, I sold these windows in a house, and it was just absolute, total pain. I mean, absolute pain. I remember there was a time, to give you an idea, where I would go to work for 5 days, and at the end of 5 days, I would just do ER shop. I would just ER shop because I didn't have insurance at the time. It wasn't 3 months. So I have to go to ER, and they would admit me and give me IV antibiotics for a couple of days. And then I'd have to go. And they're like, well, you can't go nowhere. I'm like, well, can you fix this? And they're like, no, it's not a life-threatening emergency. We can't. So you don't have insurance. I'm like, well, then I got to fucking go to work. And so then I would go to work, and then I would work for another week. And then I would go into this, and And so finally there was a doctor that said, we're going to give you an IV like they give cancer patients. And then it goes straight to your heart. So you're going to get that powerful antibiotic stuff. So every day before work, I would go in and get antibiotics to keep my infection at bay. And then it was like the night before I finally was going to get the surgery to kind of figure out what was going on. And I'll tell you.
Yeah.
And I even wrote about this and I believe it was in Daily Caller or something, where I was trying to sell these windows to this family.
Yeah.
And this couple, well, you could tell they were, Christian couple, just very, very, they were cool, but it was all, it was religious. You run into like religious people that are,
Sure.
you run into religious people that are really, truly trying to do the right thing. You could tell this is a really loving couple. And,
Right.
and here I am doing the windows like, okay, so if you do this, and she goes, what is that in your arm? I went, oh, I got to get antibiotics because of this. And she goes, why? She goes, do you have cancer? And I go, no. She goes, I'm an ER nurse. And you don't look well. You look like you're about to die. And I said, what are you talking about? She goes, on top of that, you've got blood running down your legs. What's going on with you?
Oh my God.
And I started crying. And it was the most intense moment. We had, this big Christian dude and, the little tiny, kind of looked like a dude, me and his wife. And he just came around and hugged us, all three of us. And I started bawling.
Yeah.
And it was the most incredible experience where this man that I didn't know was like, shh, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right. Let it out. And I was just like, oh my God. Through all the terrible people in the world, there are good people in the world.
Well, that's the thing. People always say nasty things so much about people who are religious, but it's not. That's a true Christian. That is an actual true Christian. They do not judge you. That they leave that up to God or whoever, right? They're not. They never judged you, and that bringing tears to my eyes, dude, because you needed that at that place and that time. They were there for you to give you that release to feel not only loved on some level, I think, but to feel that you were in a space that you were not being judged. That's a true Christian. They don't judge. And that's, oh my God, what a beautiful, powerful situation that was for you.
So I went home from that night.
Yeah.
And I went to my apartment and it was, I had insomnia, and it wasn't like insomnia, like I said, where you just sleep a little bit or whatever. I mean, I had massive insomnia and I had a really bad infection. That's why the blood was coming down. And I started to pee and the pain was so bad that I passed out on my bathroom floor by myself.
God.
And so I woke up and I had just had it, when you just have it. And I was just bawling like a baby. And I was just like, it hit me at that moment before that surgery. I'm like, I'm dying. I always knew that I was sick, but like it was that at that moment when I was like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
Oh my God.
And I didn't have the reaction that most people would have, which was, oh, I don't want to die. I was like, thank God. Just everything. Thank God. Wow. And then I started to think about my kids. And then I started to think about my kids' life without me. And it was at that moment before my surgery, it was the day before my surgery, that I said to God and the universe, I do believe that there's a God. I'm not a Christian. I said, if I'm allowed to be here for my kids, I'll do everything possible to stop this surgery and to educate people. I didn't know I didn't know they were medically transitioning kids like a lot of transgender people do. I said, if I am able to be here for my kids, I will not put this down until it's done. And so then I had the surgery. When I had the surgery, they found 6 inches of hair. I can send you pictures too, on the inside of my urethra. So if you think of, use the wrong skin or whatever. Anyway, the guy needs to be disbarred, truly.
Dude, I mean, he needs to be in jail. Forget disbarred. What? There was hair in the urethra. So what? So they didn't even do any electrolysis or whatever they do to get the hair growth. How did that happen?
Well, that's an interesting story because they said something to me about doing the electrolysis, and something inside me, didn't want to do the surgery.
Okay.
And so I didn't do the electrolysis, and I called him.
Okay.
About 3 weeks beforehand. I'm like, I haven't done the electrolysis. I probably should, postpone this or whatever. And the nurse got back to me and said, "Oh, the doctor said that's okay." I was like,
"Wow,
okay,
dude. Wow."
I mean, I'm not a doctor.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
So the hair, if you can think of it, if you've ever had like an ingrown hair on your face or your
Right.
leg or whatever, you know how it kind of like bubbles up and gets red
Yep.
and putsy and it's painful, right? Oh,
Yep.
oh.
Yep.
Think there were hundreds of those on the inside of your urethra where urine, goes by, and it's very painful. So you end up peeing like, oh God, oh, like that, to the point where
Oh my
your only
God,
body
dude.
can only take
This
so
is
much pain to
insane.
pass out.
What?
So, going to ERs like that and people thinking that I was trying to get pain pills. And they would even, I could tell that the doctors were like, listen, I don't want a pain pill. Just try to fix me, please.
Right,
and
right.
It's like, yeah, you got to go back to this person so it was like, it was a circle jerk, right? Medical transition is what? Metal.
Oh my God, dude. As they're all like, joy, trans joy. Yeah, there you go. There's some trans joy for you.
It's even worse than experimental.
Sick, dude.
Experimental means you have to have experiments being run on. They're not. Because nobody's going to do those and come out and go, yeah, this is a good idea for kids. This is life-saving. It helps.
That's right. No.
So then I had that surgery. And it was the weirdest thing. It was like after that surgery, after I figured out what was wrong with me.
Yeah.
It was the worst time. Because I'm like, what in the do I do now?
That's right. That's right.
I'm going to lose my car. I'm getting evicted because I could not make any money. And my ex with my kids, who was just a couple, houses down, who's still my best friend, came over and looked at me and said, you come with me. And so I've been in her basement for 5 years, trying to fulfill that promise. And around my kids, it's been a really good experience to have them around both of their parents. And I've been fighting for 5 years to stop the medicalization of children, starting to become the first bill in South Dakota, and so on. So there's my surgeries.
Well, I mean, first off, all of us need to thank Scott, because he has been on the front lines for at least 5 years, because I remember you from then, screaming at the top of his lungs, hello, look what happened to me. Now, that being said, the thing is this, Scott, you're saying here, this is what happened to me. I still know guys that are still doing the surgery, and that's completely their choice. But what people need to understand is Scott is saying, look, this is what might happen to you if this happens. And no one's even talking about it in our community. It's actually bizarre to me. The same thing, the little thing that happened to me with my atrophy, right? And I'm going, no, it's people do the same with me, dude. They try to silence my voice around it because I don't think they want this information to get out for some reason, which is bizarre to me. Wouldn't we all want to have this information as trans people who are trying to live our lives on a healthy? It has literally destroyed your life.
It has.
Destroyed
on
you.
Levels. It physically it has, but it's also
yes.
It's also ruined my career, right? So
yes,
when
let's talk about that. Yeah,
I started in activism. That's ASAP, by the way.
Right on.
Get down. Get out.
No, let him be there. Let him be there. Looks cool. Right on, dude.
So, I started in activism with the idea of just telling people about medically transitioning children, and it needs to stop.
Yeah.
I thought society would listen to the truth or see the truth and go, holy shit, we got to stop that. I mean, I thought 5 years ago, 6 months.
Totally.
After the first bill.
Totally.
And
totally.
I was just absolutely floored with it. And so I went into activism and, influencer kind of thing without anything other than wanting to stop this. So I did activism absolutely wrong. I mean, I've been kicked off of Twitter 7 times, or I'd have probably 5 followers. I got kicked off of YouTube. I've got kicked off everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had so many things, but it's like, I don't care because I'm not after money. I'm going to say what I'm going to say.
That's right.
People need to say it this way because we need to shake people awake. And this, I can go back into sales. I'll do this until I feel good enough, till I feel like I've, fulfilled what I needed to do and get back in sales. So after a whole bunch of stuff kind of happened, I thought maybe it's time for me to get back in sales. I had a little job selling online. This was after What is a Woman came out. I did a speak with Matt Walsh. My boss was a non-binary with married to a trans man, which was a lesbian who took no hormones at all. And I did that speak, and I came back and got fired. And so I'm like, what the hell? So then I thought, we're doing all these bills. people are asking me to go different places.
Yeah.
So I just said, hey, I'm going to do a tour. I'm going to go around. Last year we had 22 bills that passed within the state. Another kind of circle jerk everybody has is all those. There's only one bill last time I checked that is actually enforcing those. So we've done nothing. The ACLU has launched like over 250 bills to counter that. The media is not doing anything. I mean, you can't have Billy Graham talk to a room full of liberals and gay and lesbians and tell them about this. They're going to shut their ears off, right?
That's right.
So that's what's happening. And nobody wants to work together, because if you do, then you're out of your sub-tribe, then you don't get your monetization, then you don't get your donations, and you don't get this. So if you're a feminist and want to do this, you got to stay in the feminist. If you're, trans, you got to do this. And for me, I'm just like, I'm in the middle. I'll tell whoever needs to be told off to do so. Yeah. I'll hold everybody accountable. And I will create nothing for myself, but I will do something, and then I can walk away.
Right.
So I've been trying to do that for a couple of years now.
I know. My eyes are on you, dude, and I try to push your voice as much as possible. But you said something very profound here. This is what I think the world needs to see. The reason solutions are not happening is because nobody wants solutions. That's how I look at it. Because the gender critical people are over here, then the trans people are over here, then it's everyone is in it for themselves, and no one wants to look at the bigger picture. And for me and Scott, I think it's always been the kids. It's always been about the kids. I don't care what an adult. If you choose to do that, Scott, as an adult, it sucks that happened to you, but I think you take responsibility for it on some level.
I did. I made the.
You totally do.
And
it's why I love you, dude, because you take responsibility. But that being said, it's still messed up that you took responsibility and you trusted a medical professional. That is what I keep trying to tell everybody. He trusted a medical professional that destroyed his life. You don't think they're doing that to kids? He's a 42-year-old, okay? These are 10-year-olds. Big difference. Doesn't mean that it's okay that he's struggling or suffering, or none of that is okay. But my point being is, we are trying to sound the alarm. Kids are being destroyed. What is wrong with everybody? But everyone's in their own little bubble, not trying to help. And your voice is so powerful in this fight. I cannot believe these people have not utilized your power in a way that could actually change. It would actually change the way things are being done. Why do you think that is?
Well, they're using my voice to promote themselves, to promote their sub-tribes. And I was okay with that for a long period of time, because even in those circles, I get people a little bit in the middle, so I'm speaking with an evangelical, the evangelicals, and that's what I don't think people understand. For the last 2 or 3 years, I've gone and give speeches around in evangelical places, in podcasts and this and that, and I had to sit through some really uncomfortable things that they said that I didn't agree with. A lot of things I did, and my knee-jerk reaction is, I just want to leave. Because that really hurt my feelings. But then I thought, you know what? They're allowed to have their opinion. That doesn't need to be the same opinion as mine. We agree on the medicalization of children. And if I leave, what I'm doing is just perpetuating the fact that people don't know what's going on. I sat through all that uncomfortable stuff. And people think, that, he works with evangelicals. Yeah, I'll work with anybody. And you can have whatever voice that you want to have about homosexuality, about religion, about anything. As long as you are not trying to take somebody's rights away, you can have whatever opinion you want.
Right on.
And so when we're talking about activism and why this has happened and why this has gotten so big, I think going back to the beginning, and the beginning would be when gay marriage was passed.
Okay, right.
Gay marriage was passed. And it took us, years and years and years to help society understand that we weren't after children. We were for being with a partner for 40 years and then in the hospital dying. And then all of a sudden their evangelical family that has never seen them kicks out the partner. That happened. So not getting, losing your house or your job or this and that. So that would happen. And I call those righteous rights. Doesn't matter who you are. We all deserve those human rights. What we don't deserve, or what we shouldn't expect, is for everybody to agree with us. And people need to have that voice. But that fight went on for so long. And, we talked about the, conversion therapy, and we blame it on all the evangelicals, and the evangelicals would find their people just like they do now. I used to be gay, but God cured me. And the truth is that who you're attracted to doesn't change.
That's
I mean,
right.
you can decide not to be in a same-sex relationship.
That's different. That's different.
And that you should be, you should be okay with that.
Yep.
And then there are people who do become same-sex attracted because of being by a man or any trauma.
Sure.
And those people need to get therapy. Nobody needs to change their sexuality for trauma. And so, and that's kind of if you say that, people go, "Oh my God, you hate gay people." No, I don't. I don't think anybody should do anything because of trauma. I think it should be worked through. So there's like a molding that needs to take place that has not happened.
Right.
And so it's like black and white.
Great.
So think about, gay marriage passes.
Yep.
And then just imagine all the millions and millions of dollars that is going into the LGBTQ for same-sex marriage. Halt. We won.
Great.
Well, that's the worst thing that can happen in activism is winning.
Right.
It's the
That's
worst thing.
right.
Because the truth is that the people that you fall, even with the medicalization of children, all that kind of stuff, I can tell you, I'm behind the doors. Most people don't give a flying fuck.
That's right.
And it is just the latest thing to catapult themselves to more monetization, to be famous, to make more money, to charge more in speeches. It always, okay.
Yeah.
What happened? And this is, I don't think people tie this correlation.
No, great. Great.
The LGBTQ companies or corporations, the big ones, or the organizations, they kind of fell apart. The donations.
That's right.
And so, I mean, perfect example, Stonewall in the UK, which is LGBTQ here org, filed bankruptcy.
Wow.
In 2015.
I didn't know that.
Yep. They were on their way out. They were on their way out. The next year, they had a 32% year-over-year growth. Do you know what? They changed one thing in their business model. Do you know what that is?
We totally know what it is. The T.
Yeah. Medically transitioning children.
They went 32% growth increase? That is absurd.
Yeah, they signed with Mermaids, which is the organization that pushes. Yep.
That's right.
So
that's right.
All of a sudden, they found their new egg, right?
Right.
And so that egg was very, very powerful. So we have the decades and decades and decades of getting society to understand that we're not a recruiting agency, gays and lesbians. And we weren't.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Then those decent people kind of went, okay, I'm going to go live my life now. And then guess who took over the LGBTQ?
Oh my God.
The queer theory and all that kind of stuff. And people, I talk to gay people that don't know that queer theory was invented by 3 individuals. One was that promoted and had no problem talking about it.
Oh my God.
The second was a man who thought it was okay, but was not and the third was a lesbian who thought that child adult sex is okay as long as the child had fun.
Consents to it. Like, what? Children can't consent to anything.
So think in this society that we've had to push these gay rights and these things that happen that are true, that we were losing our jobs, we were getting kicked out of places, we were this. I mean, we won those, and all the TVs and all had the movies about conversion therapy and the terribleness of conversion therapy, and this and that, and this and that, and then trans came along and they went, hey, that's a great narrative, that works really well. Let's take that narrative and put it on top of transgenderism, and they have done that. And so what has happened is that we have the evangelicals doing the same thing that they did 50 years ago that didn't fucking work.
Yeah.
Talking about conversion therapy, talking about God cured them, talking about this and talking about that. And here's the problem. The evangelicals are right now. But nobody will listen to them that needs to listen to them. But
what do they write about? What do they write about?
Write about the fact that transgender is a choice.
Okay.
It's cosmetic surgery.
Okay.
It doesn't cure anything. It causes massive health issues, and it makes mental health worse. Now, with that said, there are some people that medically transition and walk lighter in life. You're one of the very few.
I am one. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I
And so
agree.
I'm supposed to not talk to you because you don't agree with me, 100.
We love each other, dude. We're proving that that's a bunch of BS.
Yeah.
What I think showing here is that it can work for some people, but it's a very small amount. And also, you have to make the choice as an adult. There is I do think it would have worked out for you, Scott, if you didn't do that surgery. I think it would have possibly been in a situation, as you know, I didn't do that surgery, but the surgery is what's really flipped you into a whole other arena that now all you can do is think about your fucking health. You can't think about living as a dude. You can't think about any of that because everything just wreaked havoc in your body. So all your concern was saving your own life. So that's why oh, dude, it just breaks my heart. It does. I know you probably hear it a lot, but it just makes me so sad that those people did that to you. And, it's also, maybe there's a reason. I always try to find the solutions or the reason for things, and it's horrible, but maybe the reason is you're supposed to be speaking out about this. Maybe that is your sort of space in this universe.
Yeah, but me speaking out the way that I'm speaking out, Buck.
Yeah.
There's a book
Yeah.
for how to become an influencer, how to become a social media star,
Oh my God.
how to do all that kind of stuff.
That is sick.
And I had never done what it takes to become any of those because it's not what I wanted. So when I talk, I don't think people understand. I mean, I've been kicked off for Twitter 7 times.
I know.
I mean, I'd have a couple 100,000 followers by now. We're talking about monetization. That's where people want to go, right?
That's right.
I had TikTok. I started TikTok 5 days.
Good luck.
I did a speech with Matt Walsh, and I was getting thousands of subscribers within a 2-hour period. It was up to 20,000 subscribers.
Wow.
Then I got banned.
Of course.
My YouTube got banned.
Yep.
All of this stuff got banned.
Yep.
And, so here I am going around to all these people, like the evangelicals and this and that, because they're the only people that are talking about it, trying to get other people to speak about it.
Okay.
Not with no benefit to myself. Just, hey, you know what? Here I am. Here's something. There you go.
Right.
Is there anything else I can do for you? Nope. Yep. And I did that because I knew the only way to get people to understand is to show people emotion. And doing that and staying, true to myself, which is, Matt Walsh. I think Matt is actually, I think he's brilliant with how he did. He's one of the very, very, very few conservative religious people that is able to get a little bit over the line.
That's true.
Is able to get to other people. And how he does that is he has conversations with people. What is a woman sitting down and having uncomfortable conversations? I mean, he's so smart with being able to pivot and stuff, and it's funny. But he sat down and talked to people. Most people don't do that.
No,
and they don't. What they do is they say, there's a problem. I have a solution to your problem. Everybody else, they are evil. Don't listen to them. Don't talk to them. Here's the rules of our sub-tribe. And come on in. If you come on in that sub-tribe, and you have some kind of a voice, you got some kind of talent with speaking, we'll lift you up and you become famous and rich, and you just do that. So these people get in there and go, I can't say that. I can't say that because that's going to get my followers. I can't do that.
That's right. That's right.
I'm just going through your followers. We're butchering an entire generation of children.
They don't care
about money.
They don't care.
No.
Dylan Mulvaney, that guy right there, okay? He's a huge influencer. He has such a huge, I'm sorry, I'm misgendering, okay? Someone's going to say something. Okay, I'll say she, just for the people out there who, whatever. I'll respect that. But that being said, Dylan does not in any way, shape, or form help what we're trying to say here. Dylan is actually influencing these young people to transition. This is one of the biggest insane. This person transitioned a year ago, and now they're a $1 million influencer, constantly talking about trans joy. This is not joyful. Look at it. And Scott is not the only one this stuff has happened to. It happened to me in a less intense. It's happened to almost all of us people who have been transitioning for a long time. Some health problem has affected our life, and nobody's listening to us. Nobody, dude. Not just you. They're not even listening to me. Sorry, go.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
No, I'm just saying, it's shocking to me that those people get the platform, but that's what I want the world to see. And why I started this channel was so that I can bring Scott on, and people like you are saying, nope, that's not what's happening. Dylan is completely just an influencer living up here in the Hollywood Hills in a $1 billion home and does not care about any of it, because what you just said, Dylan is not allowed to say certain things, or he'll be completely taken out.
So I like to say this. Okay. Yeah, I'm a salesperson. Let's give like a presentation.
Okay, yeah.
Here we go. On this side, we've got Dylan, who his sub-tribe says that he has to just believe in unicorn farts and glitter bombs. If he has any thoughts at all, he's going to lose these followers. If you lose these followers, he's going to lose his money, lose his monetization, lose his fame, loses this, loses that. So even if he doesn't agree with everything that he's doing, it's a business. And then this influence goes out to millions and millions of people that believe him. He doesn't have the kind of character to say, you know what, I'm going to say what's right. And then we go over here on this side, and it'll piss people off. I don't give a shit. So if we pull down that veil and had conversations, it wasn't about money. It was about finding balance. It wasn't about getting followers. It wasn't about donations. If it was about children, then these two would fucking disappear. Because the thing is that if that's a cult, this over here, Dylan is in a cult. In the middle is where we find the gray, and that's all where all solutions lie. But this political database that we have now only circles around if we can continue the cult mentality. Governor Abbott, who has taken over $3 million from gender clinics from the LGBTQ.
I didn't know that. No.
I have a thing on my website, a blog that goes through and shows where all the money came from. In 2015, Governor Abbott started taking money from a Southwestern gender clinic that was siphoned, laundered through UT Medical Center in the tune of $3 million.
What?
And Texas is now the worldwide hub for the medicalization of children. Remember, that's where Crane's at. So this is a guy that's taken over $3 million. Him and his team over $3 million. What? Go to that website. It's there. I mean, there's a whole list of all the links, everything where I found the money and everything, even articles.
We're gonna link that. We're gonna link that here so everyone can see.
So we have a governor who is anti-gay, which is fine, but he's also a bigot. He wanted to take rights away, so I'm not okay with that.
Okay.
Who's taking money from queer surgery centers? From the LGBTQ, and it's running through UT Tyler and then into his office, so you cannot see it on his fundraising public sites, right?
What? This is crazy.
I know. So not this year, but the year before, the bill got passed. There was another bill that came out. This one that I helped write in South Dakota had those, SAFE Act, that kind of stuff. That came out, and 4 days before that bill was to be heard in the House on the floor, Abbott and his team got a $250,000 check from the same gender clinic. And then all of a sudden, those 4 days, they were on a campaign to throw this bill off the floor. That we need to accept, we need to accept and do this. And so he got that bill thrown off the floor.
What was that bill? Do you remember the name?
It's the same thing that passed just in the last year. So then, now I want you to follow me with this, because this is how TV shit did.
Yeah.
And you're not supposed to say this stuff, by the way, because there's going to be people that, oh, you did it. I don't fucking care what people think.
No, this is yours. I gave you the stage. You can say whatever you need to say.
So then we have the governor that has taken, 250, got it thrown off. And then 3 months later, he comes out and says, medically transitioning children is child abuse.
Yes, I know. I saw that. That's why I'm shocked right now.
You took the fucking money. There's child abuse 4 months ago. When you threw it out, child abuse in 2015 when you took all that money. And now you have the audacity to come after that with the idea of thinking that you were taking the first stand against the medicalization of children. Well, how about you take that, $3.2 million and start organizations for all the kids that are detransing that you had an influence in? Because in 2015, Texas has become the worldwide hub for the medicalization of children.
I had no idea, dude. I don't think anybody here at Texas has the has the most gender clinics for transitioning children. OMG.
They are still running. Even though last year they had a bill that passed that was supposed to ban the medicalization of children.
I thought they did.
Yeah, they did. And Abbott came out and said, this is, this needs to stop. I said it was child abuse last year. I said, I'm the toughest one on this. I'm fighting this. I'm fighting the evildoers. I'm doing this. I'm the best governor in the entire fucking world.
Yeah.
And nobody will run the truth about him, because think about it this way. If we have conservatives run, evangelical news run about an evangelical conservative Republican that is taking bribes about the LGBTQ, well, that looks really terrible on them. So they just kind of look away, right? And then we got over here, we got the left, or I'm doing that fucking backwards, but the left over here, that's like, we're not going to run that, because if we run that, we're going to give a highlight to the fact of what we're doing to children. So there's the middle. And so the audacity, the wreckage is so big, that Abbott can come out and people can think that he's the biggest fighter. He's going against, David and Goliath, when he is the fucking devil.
Wow.
But nobody will listen.
Shocking.
So let's go a little bit further. So when this bill passed to ban the medicalization of children is when he took that it's child abuse the second time around, and that got passed, right?
Right.
So if you look at all of the articles in the last 2 or 3 weeks, he's kind of kicking up the dust with being, I am the one that stopped, I'm this, and I'm stopping this, and I'm the best person of the most morals, and all this kind of stuff. In the whole world, I'm the best Christian. I stop these LGBT, this is horrible, it's evil, it's do. I mean, he is exactly what Satan is with how he's handling this stuff.
Wow.
But nobody will say that because nobody wants to lose their little subtribe. So he says that. In 2 weeks, he comes out with this whole thing, and I'm thinking to myself, why is he doing that? And then I realized 2 days ago that bill was blocked.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. So Texas is still turning them out.
Remember, it did pass, and then it came in, and the trans activists or whoever blocked it. So it hasn't passed. Then it's
in blocked, which means they're going to go to like the Supreme Court and this kind of stuff. But
that's right. But while it's there, they can still run the clinics. So while it's still not 100% passed and it needs to go to the Supreme Court, they can still operate those clinics.
They are. And they are.
Wow.
24 children's hospitals in the United States.
In Texas. In the United States.
Or in the U.S., 24 children's hospitals in the United States that are not only saying that they do gender, affirming.
Yeah.
They are advertising the phalloplasty, the vaginoplasty. 24 hospitals. When I did that in What is a Woman, there were like 5 or 6. Now there's 24.
That's what? This dude is like sweating, telling people, hold up. And then they create more after you were on What is a Woman was huge. It got seen by millions of people.
That catapulted childhood transition into a fury. It did nothing.
How is that possible?
And so that's not, and that's the reason why this is happening. So that's Texas. So that is, and that is the epitome of what's happening with medical transition. So the truth,
there's money involved in all this.
Want to fix this? Nobody.
And
the people that do and do it the right way live in poverty.
I know.
And I have for 5 fucking years.
It's not right.
I've been trying to get out of activism for so long. I got a sales manager job about 4 weeks ago. You want to hear what happened?
Yeah.
So I finally decided that, listen, it finally came when I got my little break in my hand.
Yeah.
Where I don't have the money to get fixed. I don't have the money to get my puberty blockers. I didn't get paid for any of this kind of stuff. This was just all heart and sweat and all that kind of stuff. And I do have supporters that donated and helped me and I'm so appreciative in that.
Yeah.
But I've never been paid to speak. I've never done that. I mean, it got to the point where people wanted me to fly places. I was like, can you give me $100 a day? Because it cost me, $50 for this. I just got a car held together by tape. I'd rather not drive to the airport. I mean, just that kind of stuff. So all of that. And I thought, you know what?
Wow.
I need to be done. Because I don't do activism the way it needs to be done to sustain and monetize and become rich and famous. I don't.
right.
I do it in the
That's
way
right.
where, you know what? If you need to be held accountable, I'll do it. If I need to be held accountable, do it, and I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah.
I'll talk and work with everybody to kind of bring people together with the idea.
Yeah.
And so I saw that now we have the Dr. Phil's and the, you know, Joe Rogan's and stuff like that are starting to talk about it, which I'm so appreciative of that. And I understand that self-preservation and being in business is a big deal. And so right now, this is the time for those kind of people to start talking about it. It wasn't a couple of years ago.
No.
It was now they won't be hammered by their sub-tribe, right? They start talking about it.
Yep.
So I thought, okay, I need to I need to get a job. You know, I gave up that job, you know, for the speaking tour, that kind of stuff. I had a couple more jobs that I got when I was doing the thing, traveling around states, that were taken back because they didn't know about my activism. They did like the thing that came back and said, you're just a little bit too political for us. We can't bring you on. So I thought,
they found out about you.
Yeah, before I would start the job. So it's like 3 jobs.
Oh God, wow.
So, it's just
your activism blocked you from getting jobs.
So I decided that, you know what, it's time for me to get a job. I cannot get a business sales job. I cannot do like a strategic sales job. I'm just too high profile, but maybe that'll go down. So what is a woman, that kind of stuff. Okay. So I got a job in, you know, just a real bottom end sales manager job, which is fine. I started there, which is door to door.
Yeah.
And so I thought, you know what, I'll walk, I'll get in shape, you know, I can manage a little bit. I'll just, you know, let this stuff go. I'll get a check coming in and I took my website from like scottnugent.com and I turned it into TransRegretters. I gave it to a whole bunch of people, which TransRegretters are, you know, people who even thought they were transgender to 100% fully medically transitioned that have regret somewhere in the middle. So it's not black and white, right? Okay, so it could be somebody that, you know, regrets, I shouldn't have done the bottom surgery. Other than that, this has helped me. Or I regret all of it. This is totally wrong. You know, this. Or there's people that are like, yeah, this isn't for kids, even though there might be like a very small minority of kids that would benefit from it. And I don't agree with that. And I know that other people do. But having those conversations, so it's everybody that regrets a little bit and coming in and telling stories. So I worked for like a month with one of the people that helped me on changing this whole site around to be not about me, to be about, you know, trans and kids and regretters and pulling up these people who go to, you know, courts and all that kind of stuff and do talks and speeches and not do anything. I mean, do it for free, but just have people coming in and talking. So if you're in a school and you need you know, somebody to talk about trans stuff, why don't you have a transregretter? And, you know, so I did that and I felt, I'm going to get on with my life. I mean, I actually felt I was like, thank God, I'm going to have insurance. I'm not going to be attacked 24/7. I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm going to get out of here. This is going to be great. Yeah. So 2 weeks in, I knock on this gentleman's door. And he goes, what are you doing here? There's no solicitation. And he goes, what in the fuck are you doing here? What? And I was thinking to myself, I said, I'm sorry, I'll go. He followed me down the street. I said, I'm going to kick your motherfucking ass. Where are you going? And so I didn't put 2 and 2 together that he'd probably recognize me. I just thought maybe he did. He did. Yeah, I told that to Melissa when that happened, and she goes, "What did you say?" Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't even get that.
No, he knew who you were.
You know, Melissa said, my ex said something about it. I'm like, nah, now I know she's absolutely right. So the day comes where I've got my salespeople that are supposed to be my real salespeople. I thought it would be a really good idea. You know, young people, it's where I started, you know, kind of teach the art of sales. This is great. This is great. This is great. I was like, okay, guys. Now, I'm going to knock on a couple of doors. I'm going to talk to you how to do intro and this and that, and how you do this, all the sales stuff. Oh, my God, Scott, what are you doing here? Oh, my God. What are you doing? Are you door to door? What are you doing? Oh, I love you. My husband loves you.
Wow, dude.
And so, great conversation. But my team found out about that. Or I'm walking me because I'm a bigot. So,
okay, so there you are, and people are noticing you as you're getting a different job, so you don't have to be a fucking activist, and you can't even have a job.
No, you know what? I had a sales manager write me and just told me that, you know, somebody did something and wanted to give me a heads up and you know, this and that. And I remember I got off, I saw that text and I swear to God, I was like this. I mean, I'm serious. I was like this for 2 hours.
Dude. Wow.
Just looking at one thing on the wall. I'm like,
wow.
what am I supposed to do?
I know. I'm sorry.
So I've ran into activism with a bomb, which needed to happen.
Yeah, totally.
I offend everybody. So because I say what I'm supposed to say, I do get some, help, but I'm telling the truth. And
right.
I don't care about money. I'd never started this with any idea that, I did activism the wrong way to become famous and rich, the right way to change hearts and minds.
That's right.
Here I am with that through like 2 hours. I'm like, what in the fuck do I do?
Oh my God, dude.
And so, I talked to Melissa. I'm like, Melissa, I don't know what to do. Where am I going to? Am I going to get a job flipping burgers? What, until somebody says, "Oh my God"?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to lose that job. How many more things have to happen to me?
I don't.
Before I break.
I know. It's actually going to make me cry for you, dude. This is not right. It's not right. You're putting yourself out there on the line so hardcore. I know. I watch how people act with you. I see the amount of passion you have put into this, the amount of work, and not get any money for it. And how can you not feel
some people help me a little bit? I do.
Well, I'm sure they do, but that's not my point.
Like
my point is, I want
$500 a month. It's just to kind of keep. It's nothing where you can live.
But that's not the thing I'm trying to say here. Is what you're saying is very profound and very important for everyone else to hear. There's these influencers who are making so much money on some level, riding on your coattails, dude. And this is the part that people need to see. That's true activism, what Scott is doing, because he isn't concerned about the money. He's not concerned. But at the same time, he's got to eat. He has a family. He has all these things, but no one else cares about that. He's not taking that $10,000 check from Bud Light or whatever the heck, right? He's not taking that from the university of whatever, because he's not even being offered that, because you're not saying the right thing that will get you that check. I don't get it either, dude. You know that.
No, luckily, so I have to, after this, I have to walk up and sit my kids out, because I told them that, Sunday you're gonna have to be able to play volleyball. It's gonna be so great. We're gonna have to do this.
Oh my God, dude. I swear. It's just heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. I've watched you.
I have the conversation with my kids and just say, hey, guys.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but I can't do everything I was talking about.
I'm sorry, dude. It's not right. So that's the thing. Well, you can. Don't think that way. Please don't. Because I think when this gets out there and people start to see, I think you're going to get a lot of support. I have really great people who follow this channel and really care about what we're doing here. But I want to say this. Scott is one of the reasons I do this as well, because I saw Scott saying things that I was too scared to say. And when I saw you, dude, I said, no, I got to step up to the plate, because my integrity means more than me.
That's what I'm trying to do. Exactly what you said. That means a lot.
Right. No, dude, you're my bro. You're actually so important to me and to this situation that you can't be struggling like this. He can't continue to fight for these children if he's starving and he can't even drive his car and he can barely pay rent. He can't continue to do this work. And this work, if you really care about these kids, if we all really care about these kids, people like Scott's voice cannot be drowned out and cannot be put aside, because he won't be able to do it anymore. And then where are we? And they want him to do you know that? They don't want you to be successful, dude. They don't want me to be successful, because we're saying the things that they're trying. I sit in the middle like you. This did work for me. This did work for me, but it didn't work for everybody else. And that's the conversation that needs to be had. It's not black and white. Transitioning is not black and white. It never has been. It never will be. So you care about Scott. We've got to help Scott. We've got to not let him be lost and put into this position of, he even tried to get jobs and people are like noticing you. I guess it would be the same for me. If I had to go do a job, people would notice who I am.
Yep.
And be like, F off, dude. We're not hiring you.
So I always thought in the back of my mind that, I can go back into sales. And now
of course.
I am so fucked. What do I do now? And so Melissa just said, you've got to do activism the way everybody else does activism to make money. And I'm like, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could keep my mouth shut.
No, you don't have to. There's a way to do it where you don't, because I do that on some level, right? But, you know, I have other businesses that keep me afloat. I'm lucky that I got to build those businesses that don't have anything to do with the trans community. But that being said, don't worry. I think we're all going to have a lot of compassion for you right now. And I think we're going to come to a solution so that you don't have to be suffering, because it's not fair. It's not. We need you in this fight, dude. You are so important to this fight. What happened to you is why we're going to win this fight, which is sad for me to say, but it's the truth. When people see your arm, dude, and they see this, that you're always not well. I know that about you. You've always got complications.
I do.
What about insurance? How do you pay for your medications?
I don't. My blood thinners are $500 a month. I don't have them.
See?
Don't.
That's just not fair. No. It's not. You've put a lot of work into this. You've really brought light to this situation. You don't deserve this in any way, shape, or form. You are doing what you need to do in order to save these kids. And that is why we have to be helping you to not get into this horrible space that
I don't think people realize that a lot of these that I hear people saying, changing hearts and minds, experiment.
That's what happens in activism. But activism, you got to remember, dude, activism is also part of capitalism. It literally is.
It should not be. And that's what it's about. Is I cannot get into this and do it the way everybody else does it. I'm not going to do that. If I jump into this 100%, which I have to, because now I can't support my family, I'm not changing what I'm saying. I will work with I don't care.
Don't.
Standing in front of me.
I didn't. I do not. I will not pander to those people. And I did find people. They're out there for you, Scott. But you have to make some form of living. You have to. There's no way you can do this without having a form of living, because it's the only way that can keep you focused. If everything else you're
I'm like scattered, and I have been for so long because
that's why.
On survival, that's why. I can't think strategic. I mean, I'm just constantly, oh my God.
Because you're worried about your bills. That's right. Your medicine, your bills, your kids, your house. Of course, you can't focus on activism. The way to act, that's why everybody gets paid on these. That's why I don't call myself an activist. I'm not an activist. And I do not want to be an activist. What I am is somebody who's sounding the alarm. Okay. I'm a transsexual man who does not believe in transitioning children. And I will stand in my truth until you can knock me in the face all you want. I don't really fucking care. So that's where you're at. But I think you got sucked into this idea that it's activism. Get that out of your head. It's not activism, dude. What you're doing is speaking your truth and the truth, not your truth, the truth. And that's where we got to get you this platform to be like, nope, I'm not backing down. And it can't be about money. It can't be about money. That's why we got to help you build a solid foundation. So what the website is TransRegretters. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I switched it to, you can go to scottnugent.com or transregretters.com or whatever, and go there.
Great.
Got the largest database of, it's taken me 5 years to put together studies and explanation on the studies.
That's what I'm talking about. That's worth something.
TransRegretters, there's a whole bunch of people you get to be speaking and all that kind of stuff. You know, talking about this, though, it makes me remember when What Is a Woman first came out. Yeah. I remember there was a business coach or a life coach that reached out to me and wanted to help me. And I was like, hey, what is a woman's song? I'm out of here. I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
And he just told me something that I just thought was crazy when he told me this.
Okay.
And now I think he's fine. He said, Scott, he said, for you to be successful in this, for you to make a living, for you to be okay in this, is going to be extremely hard. And I said, why? And he said, because you are too good at this. People listen to you, and they walk away and their hearts and minds are changed.
Yeah.
And so you're going to find all these people that are going to want to ride on your coattails.
That's right.
But when it comes down to promoting you or helping you get to the other levels, they won't do that or have you on the shows or anything, because as soon as you show up 5 minutes later, people are looking at the person that's the influencer and all their eyes are on you, and they forget about those people. So nobody's going to help you.
Well, that's not true. I'm going to push back on him. I'm going to help you. People are going to help you when they see this. You have
I've
a
had people
powerful
reach out
story.
to him. I mean, and here's the thing. Somebody said about Joe Rogan being on Dr. Phil. I mean, I said it's true. I said, Dr. Phil, I love you to death, which I do. I call him down. I think he's great. I think he's great.
I was on his show like 6 or 7, and he did have me on to talk about trans women in sports. And me, I was all like, no, trans women should not. And the trans women totally came after me, dude. I'm like, those are men. What are you talking about? So we're going to have to end here today because I don't want people to miss. I mean, my God, the information is incredible. I'm going to put your website. I'm going to put whatever else you need. We need to uplift Scott so that he isn't in this horrible situation, my friends. Without our help, he's going to just not do this anymore. We can't lose his voice. I'm telling you, we can't. We all seriously care about the children. We cannot lose Scott's voice. And so I'm going to do whatever I can do to help so Scott isn't struggling, because it breaks my heart on so many levels, dude. It just does. And you should never be struggling the way you are. And, I care about you. I just need you to know that. I care a lot about you as a human and also as a trans person who got fucked over. I
believe you, Buck. I don't believe people that say that, but I believe you. You've been a consistent. Even when I've made some, stumbles and said some shit I probably shouldn't, but it's like,
totally, because I don't got said shit too, dude. We all do that. That's real. You're real. That's why I totally love you, dude, because you're real. I like real people, and that to me is what matters. You can say whatever you need to say, dude. I will support you, and I do mean it a lot. So with that, please support Scott. I'm going to put all your stuff up there, and you all can reach out to him, and we need to really give this guy a huge boost. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys Wednesday on the live.